So I really don't know how to go about this video, but I do want to speak on walking the Indigenous path and the responsibility of it and how sometimes it could be a bit stressful. So I want to speak about that, and I also want to speak about Sandy Ground, which is the oldest Black settlement in the United States, which is located in Staten Island, which is where I live. And I am a descendant of Sandy Ground, and I'm not going to really speak on Sandy Ground like per se, but I do want to speak about the intertwining between the Ramapo Lenape and Sandy Ground, because not just me, but I've heard from other people in the community that they are descendants of Ramapo Lenape. And the reason for me speaking on this is because I was presented with a opportunity to have my family's history put into their museum. So right now they have a museum, but I believe they're planning on building a bigger museum. And I do believe they already have Lenape history already in that museum, but there's still like a disconnection between the Ramapos and like descendants out here, because it's like there's people that say that they're Ramapo, but I don't know each individual if some of them have already like reconnected with them, but there are people like myself who just know about it, has been told about it. I've been told that I was Ramapo since I was little from like my grandfather, but that's only as far as it went. So I don't know. I just feel like I need to do more research on this, because if my family's history is going to be put into this museum, I would love for the Ramapo history to be, a part of that as well, if we all are descendants from the Ramapos. Right now, I am planning on having like certain ancestors put into that museum, like an ancestor that I spoke about recently. She is a descendant of the Tuscarora, the Lumbee, and also other tribes in Virginia. And when she came to Staten Island, she had started a church. So with all of that history, I would love for that to be part of the museum and all this other stuff. There's a lot going on. Like, as you can hear, there's just a lot. So to start this video off, a few weeks back, I got in touch with somebody really important who knows a lot about the Indian history within New York. And this person is really important, and is also a descendant of Sandy Ground. And I'm not going to mention this person's name in this video, even though this person doesn't mind. I'm not going to mention their name as of yet. But a few weeks back, I was speaking to this person, and they was telling me a lot about the Lenape history out here. And they was telling me about my grandfather's parents' generation. So my grandfather's parents, that generation, they was more outspoken about being Lenape and like Ramapo Lenape. And they was fighting certain things out here. Like, for instance, there is a school that was built on the South Shore, and it's built on top of either a village or a burial ground that is Lenape territory. Um, and they was fighting this. But even though they was fighting this, they had a lot of pushback, and the white man, not to make this a race thing, but the whites out here, they didn't care and proceeded to build this school. And this person was also telling me about, I believe it's the Shea Stadium. I think it's either located in like Queens or Brooklyn, but there's a stadium out there where the Indians were fighting for the white man or whatever not to build the stadium on top of this like land, because it was either, I think, a village or like a burial site, one of those. But no one cares, and they proceeded to build this stadium on top of this burial site or like village, one of those. And as this person was telling me this, it was getting pretty stressful, because walking this path, like, and being a part of the community, you're going to see a lot of that. Like, for instance, in the tribe that I'm enrolled with, the Tuscarora, down in North Carolina, they are fighting this person who wants to build a house, well, houses on top of this plot of land that used to be a Tuscarora village, and they just uncovered it. So now it's like a fight with that. But there's people who don't care and still want these houses to be built there. And it's supposed to be sacred, like territory. But a lot of people don't care outside of the indigenous community. So walking this path, it gets pretty stressful, just witnessing all of that, and to hear about my family back in the day trying to fight all of this, and to see how everything is today. A lot of things were built up, and it is what it is, and it's very unfortunate. And I can see why my grandfather's generation was more quiet on this. So like my grandfather, he told me that we were like part Ramapo, Lenape. He told me this when I was little, and so I knew about this for a long time. But that's how that's only as far as it went. And I never been to like the powwows or anything. I just know about possibly being a Ramapo Lenape descendant. So since I was presented with this opportunity to have my family's history put into the museum, I would really like for the Ramapo history to be put in the museum, if it's not already. But if it is, it will there will be more added onto that because of my family's history. And you know I've been reaching out to some people. One of my grandfather's siblings, they all passed away, but one of my grandfather's siblings, his wife, who is still living, she just turned 100 years old. Her name is Rosetta Newcomb, and I've been told to speak with her, so I'm trying to get in touch with either like her or her children, which is my mom's cousins, and try to figure out like the history out here, because they obviously know way more than me, because I was born in the 90s, so I only know so much. But I'm trying to get in touch with so many people who know information like on the history out here. So if there's any Lenape people watching this, like if you know a thing or two of the Ramapos, or you have connections with the Ramapos, I'm trying to get in touch, because I don't know. I don't know. It's just, I would really love for more of that history to be put into the museum. It really helps with this whole representation of indigenous and who is who. And for any Lenapes on here watching this, my family, uh they've been a part of the Elks Club. They were very big on like community and serving everyone. And I remember when I was younger, they used to have so many programs for the kids. And I remember used to going to Jersey and doing like Easter egg hunting and all that stuff, during Easter and all that. And they was involved in a lot of stuff out here. And if anyone knows about like baseball and stuff, my grandfather's cousin was Don Newcomb. And yeah, so we have a lot of history out here for those the Lenape people who are watching this, because I don't know. I feel like sometimes people just be like, "Who are you? Like, who are you? And why are you claiming Lenape or just any tribe in general?" It could get like that sometimes, because there's a lot of people that are reclaiming indigenous, and there are a lot of people who are, and there are some who aren't. And I understand why some people in the community could be standoffish, like, who are you? Because there's a lot of fraud stuff going on. Now, to move on from that, as I was speaking to this person, and this person was giving me a lot of information, this person wanted to know, like, what is my goal with this? Where am I trying to take this? And as far as right now, I'm just trying to gather as much information as possible. Right now, I'm in the information stage, and where I'm going to take this, this plays into the part of the responsibility that I'm going to speak about. Um, this person also mentioned about um, what am I planning on doing with the information, stuff like that. And how should I put this? So when it comes to walking this indigenous path, it becomes more of a responsibility in a way, because it's like you're reclaiming something that's been taken away, and there's so many people out here that is trying to claim indigenous. And it's a touchy topic, and there's a lot going on. There's like frauds and all that stuff and whatever. So to walk this path is kind of serious, because you're claiming something that a lot of people are trying to like take away. Like, no, you're not indigenous, you're X, Y, and Z, or whatever, stuff like that. And then also, it's not only that, but some people, they want you to, if you're going to speak on these type of topics, they want you to present this, very accurately. If I'm pronouncing that right, I feel like I can't speak today, but they want you to present this type of information, in an accurate manner. And of course, you want to speak with facts. As far as opinions, though, because I have opinions on certain things, and I don't think certain people would like that. So it's like, I feel like in a way you're kind of censored, and I don't move like that. So I feel like there's certain videos that I want to, certain topics that I want to speak on here, but I feel like I can't sometimes, because of that responsibility of how people want you to present yourself, if this is all making sense. So between the responsibility of just reclaiming indigenous, and then also the responsibility of talking about it on here, and people want you to present yourself in a certain way, it's like, it can be a bit stressful. And me as an individual, I have my own thoughts and opinions on things, and I just, I'm the type of person that makes mistakes like everybody else. So I can't see myself having this cookie clean image as a indigenous individual, and I'm not planning on being having a cookie clean image, if this is all making sense. And I can't even have that if I try, because there's certain things that I post, like on my Instagram. I be posting some pole videos that I have a pole in my living room. I'm not a stripper, but I have a pole in my living room. And I haven't posted any recently, but I have videos like that on my social media. And certain things that I write about, it's not very Christian friendly. So therefore, which don't make sense, because indigenous people, their original religion was not Christianity. But in modern times, a lot of indigenous descendants are, Christian like. And I don't write like that. So I have a lot of uh certain topics in my books that is going to go against the grain. So therefore, I don't have this cookie clean image. And I would love to still talk about indigenous topics on here, but I'm just an individual who has a mind of her own. If I'm making sense here, because I feel like I'm rambling at this point, which I do in all my videos. So to backpedal on that, what I was trying to say, reclaiming who you are, one, speaking all facts and not having opinions on like these type of the type of information that I would like to share, and having a clean image. It all becomes political after a while. Like, you see these people in politics, they have like this clean image, and they speak proper, and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely not that. So the responsibility and like the pressure and just, you know, walking this indigenous path, it can be a bit stressful, especially when you're finding out things on top of it all, of all the fights that your ancestors had went through, and what the current generation is still going through. It gets overwhelming at times. But yes, other than that, I would like to know about the connection between the Ramapos and the sandy ground out here in Staten Island, because Ramapos, they're located in Jersey, so they're across the river. So I mean, it's pretty close when it comes to like Staten Island and Jersey, and it's not like our ancestors wasn't traveling. They traveled all the time back in the day, like how we are doing today. So it's nothing new. I can see how my family can be connected to the Ramapos. And another thing too, where I live, the population compared to the rest of the boroughs and like New York in general, when it comes to Staten Island, we have like less than 500,000 people that are living on this island, and it only got populated more so, like I believe, once the Verrazano Bridge was built, which connects Staten Island to Brooklyn. And I think that was like back in like 1960 something when that bridge was built. But beforehand, it wasn't really populated out here. So to be from a small place and to claim Indian from that territory, I feel like it's not that hard to find that type of information on it, because not that many people can claim Indian from like a small like town place, if that makes sense as well. Only a handful of people can claim that. So what I'm trying to say is, like, if you live in a small place, like if you live in a county that's not that populated, and your ancestors have been there for like a really long time and they claim to be Indian, I feel like that's not far off if they was the only ones in this place for like a long time. Like my ancestors in Staten Island, they've been living on this island for a very long time, and not that many people can claim that side. So I feel like there's some truth in this whole Ramapo Lenape connection with the sandy ground descendants out here. But I will see, because I'm planning on reaching out to a lot of people, and even the Ramapo tribe, especially once I get more information like together. But that's all I have to say for this video. And for future Indigenous American content that I am going to make, I'm going to do my best to be as organized as possible, because I usually get on here and just wing it. But since, I'm someone that has opinions of my own, I'm going to do my best to be as respectful as possible, especially if there's going to be certain individuals watching me. And this is where the whole responsibility and like the pressure comes into play. But I'm my own individual, but I'm going to do my best to be as organized and respectful as possible. And yeah,